For full transparency, I am licensed to sell every product in this video, and I typically do not like them, nor do I recommend them. And I'll be honest, this topic is pretty hard to understand and even harder to make a video about, and you will hear my bias throughout the video. Indexed Universal Life Policies, or IULs, have been making waves online, with some even suggesting that they could be a replacement for a Roth IRA. But before you jump on the bandwagon, it's crucial to know the full picture. While IULs offer certain advantages, they also come with complexities and potential downsides that can catch buyers off guard. In today's data brief, we're going to break down what you need to be aware of before you buy an IUL and when it might actually make sense in your financial plan. Let's look at the data. There are two websites that I would recommend that you look at that I will be referencing in this video. The first is honestmath.com, which we will be using their IUL tab and study in this video. The second is the IULexperiment.com, which is one of the coolest things that I've seen in regard to debating IULs and their use cases. The founder of the IUL experiment is Andy Panko, who's a CFP, Certified Financial Planner, who purchased an IUL policy so that he could be fully transparent with people on how the policies work, function, and operate. On his website, you'll find policy documents, illustration, and his journey throughout the policy. He took the policy out in 2022, so the experiment is still pretty young. But if you are curious what the policy documents look like, he's posted them all on his website. So let's dive into what an IUL, or as some people refer to it as a life insurance retirement plan, really is. But before I do, I cannot overemphasize how hard of a topic this is to break down. Just as a general idea, the Honest Math study is 88 pages long, and Andy has over 200 pages of illustrations and policy documents to comb through. And that's just a couple of examples. There are many different companies with different policy structures that change every part of this equation. The main idea of a life insurance retirement plan, or LIRP, is that you can grow the cash value in the policy to hopefully take a loan against it as income while maintaining a death benefit to your beneficiaries. This is all done tax-free because loans against the life insurance policy are not taxable. So in an effort to oversimplify, I'm going to give you the findings that Honest Math produced from their study. They found that if someone was to fund a Roth IRA instead of funding a max-funded IUL, they would be better off 95% of the time. Let me say that again. 95% of the time, an individual would be better off funding their Roth IRA instead of funding an IUL. This number greatly depends on the functions of the policy, or in other words, the insurance company keeping their promise over a 20+ year time period while you are in their contract. If you want to know the variables that go into Honest Math study, I'd recommend that you go to their website and look at them for yourself. You will find that it is hard to make sense of all the components of the policy, but one part that I would like to highlight is how expensive an IUL policy really is. And this is something you should fully understand, but many people overlook. The policies typically start out much more expensive and then get a little cheaper later into the policy. This is to pay the insurance company and the agent that sold the policy up front. Take a look at Andy's fee breakdown. In the first 10 years, the average fee was around 2.8%, and that declines down to 0.09% after 70 years in the contract. These include mortality charges, administration fees, rider costs, insurance costs, producers' commissions, and maybe some other things that are thrown in there. Something else to know is that IULs are typically tied to the performance of an index like the S&P 500, but it's important to understand that your returns are capped. These policies often come with participation rates and cap limits, which means that you won't capture the full growth of the index. While you may avoid market losses thanks to a floor, this protection comes at the cost of limiting your upside. If you're hoping for market-like returns, an IUL may fall short of your expectations. While it's true that you can borrow against the cash value of the policy, the terms for accessing that money are more restrictive than you might think. Borrowing from your policy is not free. You're charged interest, and if you don't pay it back, it can reduce your death benefit. Plus, the policy needs to stay funded and active or it could lapse, meaning that you would lose both your coverage and cash value, and any growth would be taxable. This is why it's essential to know how and when you'll need to access the cash before relying on an IUL as a liquid asset. So, how should a data-driven investor use life insurance policies? In my opinion, a large majority of people should stay away from IUL policies. But what do you think? Would you consider using life insurance as an investment? Let me know in the comments below, and if you want to know how much to save for retirement, here's my video on that.